Hello, thank you for tuning in. It is very early on this particular day. It's Friday, 11/17/2023, and I hope you're doing well. Again, it's very, very early here. It is in the U.S. I am on Mountain Standard Time, and it is probably, I say very, very early, but I constantly wake up between the hour of 3 and 4 o'clock because I don't know. I think most of the 144 do, and at least often, if not every day. But I remember when that started for me uh, years ago, and it was happening long before I actually recognized how I would be woken up during the 3 o'clock hour in the morning, and whether it was 3:15, 3:30, 3:05, whatever. At some point during the hour of 3 o'clock in the morning, no matter what time zone I'm in. It happened when I was overseas in the military. It happened when I was deployed. It didn't matter. And so I wanted to come on and first of all, thank you, by the way, for tuning in. And those of you who have subscribed, thank you. It means a great deal to me from a spiritual perspective when your like or your subscription to the channel is genuine. You know, you're not a stalker. You're not part of the gang stalking. You're not some person from my past who's doing spell work against me. You know, it's a genuine subscriber. Thank you. And I always want to make a point of acknowledging those who have. If you're tuning in for the first time, thank you. Again, today is, as I'm recording this, is 11/17 of 2023, and wanted to come on and just talk briefly, specifically to the 144,000, and I'm not going to get into anything associated with whether there is, whether they're here, whether they're. I'm not getting into that because I don't have those questions. And if you're listening to this, most likely you don't have those questions either. You already know those things. And so I'm not going to go into that like biblically and all of that. But what I want to do is talk to the 144,000. And I mentioned the other day, after the 11/11 portal and the most recent eclipse at the end of October, how that really closed out a 7-year cycle. And there are certain things that happen in cycles. So there are certain retrogrades, and there are certain moon cycles that happen once every 10 years, once every 7 years, once every 20 years, some of them don't happen for, they're 100 and plus years apart. So the last whatever, you know how many people have passed between the start of 1900 and 1999 of December 31st. You know how many physical, literally billions of people have passed during those 100 years, right? And some of them during that time have probably lived multiple lifetimes within that millennia, right? But if you were here before that millennia, right? So if you were here on December 31st, 1999, and then you were here now, right? And I was going to say if you were here after, but there has obviously been many who have physically passed, right, or ascended. that are not physically here to listen to this or what have you. Certainly not in a physical sense. But if you are physically listening to this, then you are in a unique position, because there are many who have not been able to go from one millennia and to see a new millennia start. So that's already in a unique position, right? So that doesn't happen. The reason why I bring that up as an example is that happens only every 100 years. Okay, and so is the same from a spiritual perspective, and what happens in our galaxy and in our universe and the stars, and how those things are aligned specifically and uniquely. We learned in school that if the Earth on its axis was 1 inch closer or 1 inch further away from the sun, how drastically that would change our environment here on Earth, from the trees and fruit that grow and don't grow to the length of the winters, and how severe they are in the summers and how severe they are. Like, it would change things so drastically just by 1 inch, and less than that, 1 centimeter, because the Most High Divine Source, Yahweh God, is so precise that matters. He's so precise that matters. Okay? I relocated to Arizona from Florida back in August, and one thing that I was surprised, there was a couple of things I was surprised to see when I got to Arizona, and I was in Arizona some 20 years ago in military intelligence school, but it was military, so I had an apartment just outside the military base, so I did not live. I don't even live in that city. So it's a different part of Arizona. But there are some things that I've noticed about living here compared to living in Florida. And they are obviously polar opposites. One is on the east coast of the United States of America, one's on the west coast. So you're dealing with different weather environments, even though, with latitude and longitude lines, right? So latitude, right, and longitude. So latitude and longitude, when one aspect they're on the same line, and then in another aspect they're on a different line, right? So they have different, similar climates, but different. Florida has humidity. There's very little humidity. It stays around 19% here in Arizona, and that creates a different type of heat. Arizona is just hot, whereas Florida is sticky hot. Florida is like, yeah, it's very, very different. Okay. But in Arizona, you could also sweat or become dehydrated and not realize it. So there's danger there, right? And something that in Florida you don't have to pay attention to because of the humidity, and you instantly start sweating when you step outside in August. Like, it's not. But I've noticed some differences. Very few people here have grass in their yards, and if they do, then that grass is typically artificial grass, because it's desert country in a lot of places, and grass needs a certain type of environment, moisture, for instance, to grow, right? And so, with all that the Father does, it's unique and it's precise. Okay, and so for the 144,000, as we've entered into this new place of being, if you are a part of that, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so you know that now is the time, and this is not a some weird wild-eyed idea about predicting when Christ returns or any of that. For those who are not awakened, I have news for you. He has already returned. Okay? So if you're sitting around waiting for the white horse, good luck. Okay? If you're waiting for the rapture before you get to working on your shit and working on yourself, good luck. Because you're going to be caught off guard. Because we're told, right, Even Yeshua told them to stay watch. The men fell asleep. Okay? So there are those who were called to keep watch, but they fell asleep. So in the physical, what does that mean that they fell asleep? 144,000. What does that mean when someone falls asleep? What does Yeshua mean? He probably did not mean from a spiritual perspective, and maybe he did. But for me, I understand that as a spiritual perspective, or spiritual sleep. So he called men from wherever he called them during his time in physical ministry here. He would call people, and other ascended masters have. They would call people to be a part of them and their journey to change the earth for better. And it doesn't matter who they are. It could be Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It could be Nikola Tesla. It could be Albert Einstein. It could be anyone who has come, again, to add to and to enlighten man. And yes, I believe I know those individuals were sent to enlighten us. Okay? I'm not saying they're ascended masters. I'm saying they were sent to enlighten us. Just because someone's sent to enlighten us, angels are sent to enlighten us. Okay? I'm an earth angel, right? Me being an earth angel, I'm a healer. And that healing takes on many forms. It could be physical. It could be a spiritual healing. It could be a mental healing. It could be all sorts of things. It could be enlightenment. There's a way you can heal someone's knowledge, someone's understanding, someone's perspective. You can heal that in someone, okay? And so at this point in time, where we are here on earth, where man is, it is now the time, with the collective being in position to really take the truth to the world. And that truth is associated with our spirituality, and it is denouncing and deconstructing, tearing down, not in a violent way, but it is deconstructing and tearing down, demolishing religion in every sense. And it's showing people that the true way to live, that man is meant to live, is to be lived in freedom. And that freedom does not come through following rules that are in a book, because that book will keep you confined. It is not by following what a man says, okay? But true freedom living is following your own intuition, okay? We have guides here, just like we have teachers here. So we go to school, physical school, because we believe that the individual who's been tasked with the authority, the wherewithal to show us something that we did not know before we walked into that classroom, is going to help us. It's going to enlighten us. It's going to help us be better prepared in some way to function at some point down the road. Okay? Same thing why we have mentors, coaches, teachers. Okay? Unfortunately, these individuals, and it's up to the individuals who are in the leadership positions as well, to check the people who they are leading, okay? Because our job is never to become the individual that they go to as their source. So, for instance, someone plugging into you, right, and you sharing your wisdom or whatever it is, whatever your gift is, whatever part of the 144 or part of the prophecy you're here to fulfill, in that role, you have to be accountable, and you have to be aware and alert to helping others see. And again, this is the leader's responsibility, not allowing others to become leeches or to to never leave your nest. Okay, so as a leader, and all of the 144 is called to lead in some way, shape, form, or fashion. That's absolutely true. It doesn't matter if it could be a corporate job because the prophetic is needed at the job. The healer is needed in corporate America. If you don't believe that, and that's corporate around the world, if you don't believe that, then you don't know business and you don't understand really what the mission is. And again, that statement would not be for the 144. That would be for someone on the outside, because the 144 have a clear understanding of at least why they're here, the grand purpose. None of us have all the details. So for instance, I don't know each and every day what my day is going to be. However, and I've learned not to even do that, right? So, and there are some who write things down, right? So there's nothing wrong with planning, but your planning should still leave room for divine to work miracles. Because if you plan out your day to such a degree that you do not leave breathing room, okay, because you have a human being in every slot of your day, you don't leave any room for divine to work miraculously. So the person who you really truly needed to meet, that one person in that one day, on that Tuesday at 3:45, I'm picturing New York and at a hot dog stand for some reason. I don't know why. But you're needing to meet that person at that hot dog stand, right? Because there's going to be some brief 3-minute conversations that's going to spark something in them or spark something in you. And it's one of those made for TV moments, right? And I know I'm being dramatic, but that's how life really is on a spiritual standpoint. And that's how significant our attention to detail is, not when it comes to our planning, but when it comes to our attentiveness, crown chakra, third chakra being open, and awareness to what it is that the Father is wanting to do in us and through us, for us each and every day. Okay, it's a much more relaxed walk than most people believe it is. Okay, but the challenge is, man has spit out all these rules from a book that is incomplete, okay, and raked over the coals for centuries. And now man today, still in the 21st century, is trying to teach you from a book that is very incomplete. And I don't say this because I don't believe the Bible. I say this because I believe more so in the guidance that Most High is getting and what he's revealing to man. Okay? And what today, this time in history, what it really is about to unveil and what is about to be unleashed. And so to the 144,000, 2 words: accountability, okay, and attentiveness, okay, and attentiveness, paying attention to what is going on around you, okay, because this is how you pick up the synchronicities. And again, these are to the 144. These might be simplistic things, but I'm simply coming on, and I pressed record, not knowing exactly what I was going to say. I knew it was going to be for the 144,000, but I didn't know specifically what I was going to say. But very much encouraged this morning as the sun comes up to encourage those who typically encourage, right? Because every now and then, I remember realizing this some years ago, every now and then, even the pillars need reassuring, right? That's why people do restoration on historic homes, because every now and then, it might be 50 years in between restorations, but every now and then, even the pillars need a little reassurance, right? Every now and then. And so I'm hoping that this is that. Okay. If you are a part of the 144, you are an earth angel, a light worker, star seed. You are a Blu-ray angel. You are an empath. You are a healer. You are a scribe. You are you could be a magician, but you use these things for good, right? There are good witches, there are bad witches. We all have the ability to produce both evil or manifest evil and good, or good and bad. We all have that capability. We all have the angel on our shoulder, and we also have the devil on our shoulder. Okay, we all have that. No one gets away from that. Everybody has divine masculine or masculine and feminine energies. Nobody gets away from that. You can't get away from that. No more than you can remove all the X chromosomes and only have Y, or vice versa. You can't do that. Okay? So, and that's good, because divine knows exactly what he's doing. He has it all together. Okay? Man is the reason why shit keeps falling apart and deteriorating. So we are on the precipice. He just brought the word precipice to me. So we are on the precipice of something that man, whether or not man believes it or not, man has cried out for. And that is a time when man knows the truth. Man knows the truth about what man has been hiding from itself, right? From humans, I should say. So man finds out what humans have been hiding from them, because man is the God part of us, and it's unisex. Man is not male. Okay? Man is that God part of us. He created man in his image, so that was the spirit nature, right? He created one man, right? So humans have tried since the beginning, well, since the fall, since man was kicked out of the Garden of Eden and placed in the Garden of Treasures. If you don't know what that is, look up the Book of Treasures, or the book of the Cave of Treasures. You will read the story about how Adam and Eve were removed from the garden, and how their journey started in this place here that you and I now recognize as Earth. Okay, and the places that man is birthed into physically today. That was not the case, or at least that's not where we dwell today. What we see today is not the place that man was created in. Okay, this is the place that man was exiled to. Okay, and so again, yeah, I'm not gonna go there, because that will definitely go down some rabbit trail. So anyway, yes, so on the precipice of finding out about the truth of who we are, and us being spiritual beings first, and from the beginning. This is why the Word was with God in the beginning. There's nothing new under the sun. Why is there nothing new under the sun? Because he wrote it all in the beginning. That's why he rested on the seventh day. What's the seventh day? The seventh day is still going. It's still the seventh day. That's why there's nothing new under the sun. You hear that motorcycle, that rev? That's a confirmation. It's time to go. It's time to go. 911. You seeing 911? It means it's time to go. 911. Let's go. Right? Synchronicity. So with this, we all have our own individual accountability checklist in regards to what our unique and specific jobs are. And again, this is on the daily basis. To wake up and be grateful immediately. Okay? For, I don't know, I thank Father for the water that I drink, the oatmeal that I have, the I don't know, whatever, right? for the place that I have that keeps me out of the weather, right? Out of the hot, out of the rain, out of the winter, out of the cold, whatever it might be. But we have the 144. We wake up with that mindset, okay? And if that's a challenge for you, but you know that you are called, or you know you are, but you're not quite there yet, then this is definitely meant for you. And it's meant to be an encouragement to let you know that you're not forsaken, okay? You are a part, okay? Your intuition was telling you correctly when you were guided to look into something that perhaps your family never had, okay? When you were guided to start this practice, you know something that's interesting? Man constantly, even in and of himself, battles with Scripture, right? But man often doesn't realize it. So does man realize that they go against spirituality every single day? Man did not have a book for how long, and yet maintained a highly guided life here on earth from Most High. How is that possible? Because it has nothing to do with a book. That thing should be used just as a dictionary, a reference guide. That's all it should be used for. It should not be used to tell you what to do. So here's how bass-backwards man is. Man tells people that you are to hear God, right? But man carries a book that man uses every single day. That's not being guided by God, okay? Because how many lessons, how many subjects did you learn in school that you have never, ever, and will never use in your life? I always think of parallelograms. What the hell was that? And why was that necessary for me to learn? Well, it's part of the curriculum. No. Let's cut the fat and let's talk about what really is necessary in life. And again, I'm not going to go down what I think education should be, because that's not what this is about, right? Again, this is talking to the 144, right? Those who know that they are chosen, called out, and set apart. I'm going to get that tattoo one day, right? There are so many hindrances, and I mentioned accountability. If you're not able to be 100% honest with yourself, you cannot lead. So what does that mean? It means transparency. It doesn't mean everybody has to know when you and your spouse has a disagreement. That's not what that means. Transparency means I am being honest with you. I am not, to my knowledge, withholding anything from you that you need to know or that I should be sharing with you. It doesn't matter what our relationship is. I am not withholding anything from you that I should be sharing. Okay? That's 100% transparency. Okay? And if you have some manipulating, deceiving, narcissistic view of that, then you still have a lot of healing to do, because that there should be no hidden agenda behind any of that, or manipulating tactics or anything. Okay, so accountability. Okay, if you still have unhealed childhood wounds, okay, and I know for a fact that the 144, we live the toughest lives here in the natural, and often we are unalived early and unexpectedly, and we have to come back. I am thinking of, and I don't know why. Man, I am thinking about, I watch I watch a lot of crime shows and unsolved mysteries, and specifically crime shows because I don't know. I'm drawn to that, and can I say I believe like those cases can be solved, and those of us who are intuitive can help solve those. Can I say that? Um, I mean, I can, but you know what I'm saying. Um, I watch those shows because I'm just fascinated by man and their choices. It's always fascinated me about man. And if I didn't go into accounting, which I did for last 13 years, tax, accounting, bookkeeper and stuff, if I did not go into that occupation, I would either be a real estate investor or I would be some type of investigator, because, or psychiatrist. I'm so intrigued with the way that man thinks and why man thinks, makes the choices that man does, and like what would cause a boyfriend to decide one day that he's going to unalive his girlfriend and her 3 kids. Like what is that? What would bring someone? I can't comprehend that, but that's how far I am away from that spiritually, that spirit. But but as far as healing man, that has me hungry for for the keys to that, to heal that, right? To or stop that. And I'm saying that, but you know, in one way I'm just one person, but again, that's where the leadership, that's where the teamwork, right? And helping us working together as a collective to bring about a change in our own individual ways each and every day. Okay? Because a drop of water in the river today, it absolutely affects the ocean. It absolutely does. Okay? And it's all connected. It's all because all the bodies of water are connected, whether you see them or not, see the connection or not. They run underground, what have you, right? It's all connected, and so are we. There's no coincidence that the body's 70% water. There's no coincidence that the earth is 70% water. There's no coincidence about that. Do you see the revelation? You see the correlation, okay? So accountability and being transparent, okay, and being vulnerable. You have to be willing to be vulnerable when you're in a leadership position. Because if you're not willing to be vulnerable, then people will never be able to relate to you. And I believe this is in large part why the 144, the chosen ones, why we go through what we go through here on earth. So this is why you would be birthed into a polygamous family. This is why you would be diagnosed with a rare autoimmune virus that attacks your kidneys. This is why you would have a father that's been doing spell work against you for 40 years. This is why he never wanted you to be married and never wanted you to have kids. This is the reason why he did not want you to pass on your seed, your anointing, your gifts, your spiritual abilities to the next generation. There is a reason for that. There's a reason why you've been dealing with karmic situations and twin flames and false people, and right? All of those experiences are so that we can turn around, alchemize that, and help others to ascend and awaken. That is the 144's job. And I'm here to do my job. I'm here to fulfill the prophecy that I was here to fulfill. And if you're listening to this, then I can only suspect that you are eager to do that too. And again, it's not an easy road, because it is similar to the road that the Yeshua took, that the Buddha took, that the Saint Germain took, that the Mother Mary took, that the any other ascended master, right? It's similar to the roads that these individuals took. And if we look at their stories and the challenges that they faced, they are forever held in spiritual honor, but their natural road here was not an easy one. Okay? It was not an easy one, but yet they completed their mission. Okay? And that's what's the most important to me, being a soldier, having been one in the natural, but I am a warrior spiritually. And so being that spiritual warrior, it's good to know I don't have to go it alone, but I would go it alone. And we all should have that, all the chosen ones. We should have that mindset. I'm glad I don't have to go at it alone. But if I did, I would be willing to. Because it's that important to me that I fulfill all that I am sent here to be and do. And as I always say, that is to be the highest, purest, truest form of ourselves. That's without the programming of man, without the news that is constantly bombarding us with programming. And the programming is horrific. It's bad. It's not good. It's pessimistic. It's fearful. It's filled with fear. False expectations appearing real, right? It's just full of fear. Okay? It is. So, all the things that man keeps in secret, right? The books of scripture, right? That you and I should have access to, but we don't. So that we can have the full truth, so that we can learn that it's not weird to burn sage to clear energy, because what do you think they were doing when they were using frankincense and myrrh? When you read that between Genesis and Revelation, what the hell do you think they were using that for? Not to make their house smell good. They were using it to clear the spiritual energies that were coming at them, the demonic attacks. That's what frankincense and myrrh and incense are used for. No minister will stand up and tell you that today. No pastor will stand up and tell you, you need to go home and you need to smudge. What smudge? You need to go home and sage smudge. You need to go home and you need to get yourself some frankincense and myrrh. And you need to go ahead. You need to do this because you need to. No pastor's going to stand up and tell you that. But it's right there between Genesis and Revelation. They will even read it in church and still miss the revelation for today's application and being in a spiritual relationship with the Father, and how that's done not through a book and following laws, because Yahweh gave us 10 of them in the beginning and man couldn't follow those. And so he just kept adding on. Man continues to not be able to follow rules. So that's a fact. Man is very bad at following rules and laws. Man can't follow man's laws. Man has a lot more laws than the divine does, but man doesn't think that. That's why man lives the way that they do. Man thinks it's more difficult to live spiritually than it is to live Hellenistically. That's why man lives that way. Because of all the laws associated with religion. Man's like, you know what? Fuck that. I'd rather go to a movie. Why? Because religion says I can't go to a movie? That's dumb as hell. Religion says I can't wear makeup. Whatever. Right? And these things might not be applicable so much today because there's been some type of slap across religion's face, right? That has awakened these ministers. But I grew up in the 80s, and in the 80s, women couldn't wear shorts, makeup, pants, blah, 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 right? Those were dumb things, okay? So even when man, and this is how you know someone is asleep spiritually, they read something like that, and then you hear someone say something like I just said, and a light bulb goes off in your head. That's an indicator. That's a revelatory moment for you. And again, that's not me bragging, because what I speak doesn't come from my throat chakra is wide open and aligned to divine source in alignment. So whatever comes from my throat, that's, yeah. It's not flesh and blood speaking. So Accountability, 144,000. So as you start your day today, don't be so eager to stick to the calendar. Just slow it down just a little bit so that you don't miss that man or woman, that child. Today, don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about 11/18/2023, 11/17 only, so that you don't pass up that opportunity for someone to share something with you. And it's a great moment that really marks your day. Or it's a great opportunity that really sets somebody up for success because of your encouraging words or your kind act. Okay? Because in most cases, that is how we go about healing. It's just by showing love, but showing love in the ways that most people take for granted. So it's holding the door for the woman or the man who's coming behind you or in front of you. Okay? It's seeing that kid crying. You're running late, you got a meeting, but you stop. And you ask them, are they okay? If there's something they need, you help them out, and you come to find out the meeting was postponed by 15 minutes because it's always working out for your good. So you weren't late anyway, and guess what? You got to bless that person. You encourage them, and they're going to think about the words that you said to them for the rest of their life. So look and expect those. Look for and expect those opportunities because they present themselves every single day. Most of us are too caught up in our own world, in that program, in the matrix, to recognize when it's an opportunity for our light to shine. Light worker, star seed, earth angel, right? Dolphin spirit, okay? Extraterrestrial. When it's time for you to shine, recognize your moment and the opportunity. Because that's what everybody talks about Christ. That's what he did. He went to get some water. There's a woman at the well, right? Opportunities. This is how you sow the seeds of light and unconditional love. This is how you do that. But I believe this is a turning point in this 7th year, 2023. That's a 7. I believe this is a strategic turning point. And so, if you are part of the 144, and you know that you are chosen, and it doesn't matter where you are today, but you know that you are, then if there are adjustments and things that need to be made, I want to encourage you to do that. I've been encouraged to also, and I take a deep breath because I don't know.